Welcome once again. This is the weekend podcast, Gracious Hope Live Podcast. My name is Alexander Red. And of course, I'm the pastor at Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship. And today's program, we will be shining a light on the Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC. Liberia, a country, has been in darkness for a very long period of time following a prolonged civil war. And we today will be talking about the truth behind LEC's plan to provide light to the country. And Liberians, we know they heard this news and they are so glad about it because the Liberian government is making all efforts to have the CLSG electrified Liberia. But what is the truth? What is the deal? What's going on? And we will be looking at the cost effective benefits analysis with our special guest today, Mr. Jerry Tamba Taylor. And he is the country manager. He's a country manager for Transco CLSG Liberia office. And Mr. Taylor has vast knowledge and experience, and he is going to share with us some of the details regarding how electricity will be coming into Liberia or to our country homeland, Liberia, through Transco CLSG. Okay. And so we are so glad to have you here today. And on our podcast, of course, the co-host here, Reverend Suah is Deddeh. Reverend Deddeh, and the Lord said, and God said, let there be light, and there was
There
light.
was light.
Man.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I like how you put it. When God speaks, things come into pass, and so now we are not God, but we are children of God. Sanctified by the blood of Jesus Christ, and so we are glad to be back. I miss my brother. We've been busy. Oh yeah, so we are back.
Yeah.
We are back together. We miss each other. And it's always a joyous thing when we can say, "This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." So I'm glad in it. Light is important. Whenever light comes in a situation, darkness is despair, and
Yes.
that's why we are happy that we are discussing this topic today, Alex and I, on the issue of light in our dear motherland, Liberia. And the good thing is we have Liberians who are in this project, Liberians who are working with this project. It gives me joy when Liberians are involved in such a big project as this one. This is a regional project. It's not just a localized project, and to see Liberians are at the forefront, leading the way, is magnificent, and we give God the glory for that. So we look forward to talking with our brother Taylor today. I almost call him Pastor Taylor. I'm so used to calling people pastor because I
I
have a
know.
pastor friend named Taylor. So I
Yes.
almost call, yeah. So we are glad that
Yes.
he agreed to join us today. And I hear our own friend Sidiki is also with the project too, which is a good thing. So Alex, I look forward to this discussion today. To talk about our own brother from the mother's land, our brother Taylor.
Yes, and I look forward to knowing what this whole electricity deal is all about. And special thanks to Mr. Sidigi Trawali, the strategist in communication who engineered all of this today to have the country manager of Transco CLSG Liberia, Mr. Jerry Tama Taylor. He is our special guest today. And please share this link. This is the Gracious Hope Live podcast. We discuss about contemporary issues that affect the Christian light of faith. And of course, the intention of this program has always been to preserve and promote the Liberian Christian heritage. And Transco is a company. It's a let's say it's an institution. Transco CLG is a regional institution, and the facts about Transco CLSG is that it's a sub-regional institution responsible to finance, build, own, operate, maintain, and develop a X-Power interconnection line linking Cote d'Ivoire to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, referred to as the CLSG. So that is C is for Cote d'Ivoire, L is for Liberia, S is for Sierra Leone, G is for Guinea. It's a special project, and ECOWAS, okay, has a hand in this as well. So it's a subdivision program of ECOWAS to fulfill the energy deficits in the four countries in West Africa, in the West African region. They provide energy to these four African countries. And so these are just the facts about what they do, and we'll be getting into the nitty gritty here with Mr. Taylor, and he will let us know. He has an insight, and as a country manager for Transco-CLSG in Liberia, there's a whole lot he will be talking about. And for all our viewers, please share this link with your friends, your families, and your relatives, and so they can be a part of this podcast. Again, welcome again. And you that telling us hello from Louisiana. We'd like to say welcome. Claire, as I Claire Fontenette, if I got it right. Welcome, welcome. Okay, and so welcome once again, and we'll be so glad now to bring on our guest, Mr. Jerry Tamba Taylor, who's a country manager of Transco CLG. And we'd like to say welcome to the Gracious Hope Live podcast this weekend, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm glad to be with you this evening to share a little knowledge about the regional power project, which is Transco CLSG. We call it the CLSG project. CLSG project. And you said it well. The C is for Cote d'Ivoire, L for Liberia, S for Sierra Leone, G for Guinea. That's why it's transmission company CLSG, transmission company for the four countries. That's the meaning. And I'm glad to share the little knowledge that I have, and for the benefit of all. And like we say, there are two burning constraints in development, and that's affordable and reliable electricity or power, as you may call it, or road network. Because when you have these two things, handled, the rest of the sectors will follow. But today we're talking about energy. How can we benefit from it? So I'd like to say thank you for inviting us on this platform, and I hope my little knowledge will be a benefit to all of us.
Of course, it will be a benefit. And Liberians have been yearning or craving for electricity. They want the lights to be on, and especially in the business environment. Almost of the business entities in our country, they want electricity to be stable. Those who own hotels and construction companies and small shops and everywhere else, even in the household, people want to put that food in the fridge. They want to get even that washing machine to use, but with the infrequent electricity supply, it is somehow bothersome for most people. So we are so glad to hear this news. Now, what is this whole Transco CLSG and the Liberian government deal is about? Because I saw the pictures here where the LEC board chairman, Mani Captain, signing along with the regional manager, Mohammed Sharif, and CDB, who is also located in Cote d'Ivoire. They signed this agreement. So tell us, what does this agreement is all about? How would it benefit the
All
Liberian
right.
people?
Before I come to the benefits, let me just take you a little, maybe 2 or 3 steps backward on the historicity of this whole project. Our leaders in the sub-region at the time, it was during, the past leadership when the 4 countries met. But that has been ECOWAS' own initiative. ECOWAS, under its project, they have formed subcomponents in ensuring that services are provided to the citizenry of the sub-region. And that's why the WAP, that is West Africa Power Pool, was formed. And the West Africa Power Pool, under the West Africa Power Pool, there are component, that is priority projects under the West Africa Power Pool to ensure that people get services. So one of these priority projects is the CLSG project, meaning that we will try to connect the 4 countries, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, so as to be able, right, to exploit, and not only to exploit, but to exchange energy resources for the benefit of the citizens of this sub-region. Keyword, to exchange, not to take, only to take, but to exchange energy resources. So this project came about, and when they went forth, the 4 countries met and they tried to actualize this. So they put it into proper perspective, and they developed the project, and the project was legislated by the full parliament, or in our instance, we say the legislature. So this project was legislated, and it is a treaty. Treaty was signed by the full parliament, making it mandatory that this project is a priority, that the 4 countries must commit themselves to ensuring that this project is implemented. And, that was done. And then the donors came in, 4 donors, African Development Bank, the European Investment Bank, the World Bank, and the German Development Bank, which we call the KfW. They put up the funding. Then also the government by themselves put up what we call counterpart funding, which means, yes, the donors have done this much, but what can we do by ourselves? So the 4 countries also put up some funding. So this, monies were put together for the construction of the line and substations. So the network is being constructed. As I speak, we are now 98% complete. So the benefit of it is enormous, because the project intention is for affordable and reliable power. So the benefit for the citizens of the sub-region, and in particular the citizens of Liberia, that will be able to have power to the quantum that we wanted. That is the quantity of power and the quality of power that we need. In our situation, Liberia, for every dry season, if it was not way back, in the 80s, in the 70s, but we've experienced it when we came back and rehabilitated the hydro. Every dry season, we cannot account for the power that will help the citizens to enjoy life. So some of these things were talked through, and now we have signed this agreement after the energization, and the synchronization first, the energization of the power, meaning putting the power in the lines that the power is not ready to use, right? Then you have to sign, like you were talking about, what is it all about? You have to sign 2 sets of documents, 2 sets of agreements. That's the power purchase agreement and the transmission service agreement. The power purchase is simply between the producer of power and the off-taker. The off-taker is the buyer or the person who's going to use it. So in this instance, we have Cote d'Ivoire right now that is producing, and Liberia, Sierra Leone, and has more capacity than this country for now. And I told you, keyword there is for exchange, meaning that Liberia in the future can build its own capacity as well and give up power. So for now, these are the documents that were signed, that for this dry season, starting December 1st, that those situations that we faced before, especially a situation of power shortage, now will be a thing of history because we'll be having power being imported from Cote d'Ivoire. Um, for now, it is signed at 27 megawatt of power to augment what we already have. You know, we already have a capacity. It's just that the capacity is not enough to serve us. So we are augmenting to be able to give the people the service that is needed for the dry season and beyond.
Okay, I mean, there's a whole lot I know we still got to do or talk about. So, part of this agreement that is signed between the Liberian government and Transco-CLSG, is there any monetary funds or funds involved that the government owes or has to pay as an obligation, yearly or annually or monthly?
Well, no electricity is free,
Hmm.
right? So, and who pays electricity is the person who uses electricity. So, payment of electricity is to the end user, right? For instance, right now, of course, my background is blurred, but I'm using electricity here, and the electricity I'm using, I pay for it. So individual persons are the one that are to pay. It's not the government. Government will pay its own. What the government uses, what government going to pay. So,
Hmm. Okay.
of course. So probably you have ministries and agencies, okay, street lights, public buildings, and the rest of it. Those are the areas, right, and points that current is being consumed, is being paid for by government. All right. But individual homes must be paid for those who are using the power. So anywhere for that matter, no power is free. So if you say we owe, probably you may be thinking about what people have been saying, government owe, government owe. That is different from the CLSG project. The what have been accrued was on the cross-border initiative. Cross-border initiative simply means that in time past, there was this agreement between the Ivorian government and the government of Liberia. Since the villages or towns or cities
Mhm.
along the border, right, have electricity in Cote d'Ivoire, the government of Liberia say, hey, you got power right there, and we don't have the capacity yet to take power to the southeast, to Nimba. So right across the border, can you just loop up these lines so our people will have some semblance of modernity? And that
Mhm.
agreement was between the two, countries, the two governments. And now, and power came. Or the only thing we did not do, the power was hooked up and it energized, and people started to use the power, but we did not put the structure in place to collect the revenue from the
Mhm.
use. So the usage of power accrue, right? And this is where government was indebted to, or is indebted to, the Ivorian government or the CI Energy, which is the national utility for Cote d'Ivoire, as we have
Mhm.
LEC here. So that arrangement is different. But the thing here was when it came to the limelight, because it's the same country that the power has been taken from, and Liberia is the same country that using the power. So it's like stretching your left hand to collect something and bringing your right hand. So Cote d'Ivoire is saying, yeah, you coming back to sign with us, but we have this outstanding. Can we look at it? Because you are the same, country that use it, and you coming to us, who the same country that sold the power on the cross border. So let's look at it. But I think that these are things of history now because they have been resolved. Commitment has been made, and some payment has been made. So if we have not agreed, would not be to where we are as we speak to signing the
So
commercial.
how much was the amount that was paid, that was owed by the government?
Well, I may not be, I may not have all the details because that is different, situation.
Hmm.
But as I learned, it was 9.3 million dollars.
$9.3 million. Reverend Deddeh?
Yeah, sure. I just want to follow up on the 27%. I wasn't too clear on the 27% of power from Cote d'Ivoire. Would you go back on that, because I need clarity on that before I follow up with my question?
No, it's not 27%. It's 27 megawatt.
Oh, 27 megawatts. Okay.
Yeah. So the 27 megawatt came about in this way. When the project was conceived, which is the CLSG project, the four countries got involved, came together, and formulated and created what they call special purpose vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Special purpose vehicle, which means that there should be a body that will run this thing. Yeah, we all came together, we agree, and the rest of it, but there has to be somebody who is responsible, who should be responsible to run it. That's how Transco-CLSG came. All right. So Transco-CLSG will have to work. We have to run. We have operational cost. We
Mm-hmm.
have, so to have Transco viable to operate as it should, to ensure that this project is run, there should be a budget for this stuff. So to create, or to actualize this budget, it was agreed that each country would trade on this line not less than 27 megawatt of power, because there is let me
You
just
mean each country? You mean Cote
yeah,
d'Ivoire and Sierra
no, no,
Leone?
the three off takers, the three consumers: Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, because Cote
Okay.
d'Ivoire is giving.
The supplier. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they're supplying. So
Mm-hmm.
on the line, there is what we call transmission service cost. Transmission service cost. So as we speak right now, within the transmission service, which is the TSA, there is a rate of 2 cents per kilowatt hour for power being transmitted from the point of production to the point of consumption. So that money that is generated, that each country of the three cannot
Mm-hmm.
do less than 27 megawatt to be able to keep Transco at viable, to keep Transco viable. Mind you, besides the overhead cost of Transco for operations, there is also loan that the government, the three governments, incur from the donors on
Mm-hmm.
concessional basis, and these loans were on lent to Transco. So Transco is responsible to pay these loans back. So these monies that are collected through the transmission service are the monies that will be able to repay and to run Transco.
Okay, let's still elaborate a little bit. The 27 megawatts power that Cote d'Ivoire will be giving to Liberia. My question is it sufficient or enough to add to what Liberia capacity is now to electrify the country or to electrify Monrovia alone?
Okay, one thing we should understand that LEC is responsible to determine the energy need for the country or for
Yes.
its customers,
Yes.
right? So there is something they call energy demand. So LEC, we have to come up with, this is what we need, this is what we have, and this is our gap. So in this gap, this is what we're going to look for. So in this instance, LEC has determined the power need for their client or their customers. So it may be or may not be, but in their thinking, that will take the minimum for now and see how that will impact if there is a need. And there is always an opening for augmenting whatever you may need. So, mind you, as we speak, power is in Liberia, okay? And the power that is in Liberia is serving the terrain that has been covered, right, by LEC. So what they'll be needing is augmenting whatever that the gap will require. And also there is an opening to add up when you need it. This is what the project is all about.
So from what you said, what has LEC decided that they need to augment the power to electrify the country? I mean, when I say the country, I mean the entire country.
Say that again. I didn't get
what
that.
What would LEC need to augment her power to electrify the entire country?
Well, currently, we have 88 megawatt of power from Mount Coffee, and we also have the turbine at Bushel Island that will produce, I think, around 38 megawatt. I think out of 40 or 38, but I'm not too clear on how many turbines that are working now. So let me stop at 38. So if you look at 38 and 88 megawatt, if you combine that, that is the power LEC has right now. So LEC also has what we call energy demand. What are we producing now, and what are we, letting out? Meaning, what is the energy that we need to satisfy the customer base? So they, in their own formula, they have noticed that for now, let us sign the minimum offtake of power, which is 27 megawatt, because 83 is given out to the 3 countries and divided into 3 equal parts. That's why I brought it up to 27, because that 83 is that is the minimum to keep Transco at float, viable to meet its own requirements or its own obligations. So that is why it came up to. But mind you, that is an open phenomena where, as we call it, the transmission and merely the PPA, which is the power purchase agreement, can be revisited at any other time that the needs are there. And again, we just received, I was called into the meeting, we just received a delegation from Guinea, because Guinea is also building its capacity. Guinea currently has around 700 plus megawatt, and they want to give out power because they also want to get into the business. That's why I told you the key word there is exchange. So Guinea is also looking at knocking at the doors of other countries, Sierra Leone and Liberia, to give her their power. Meaning, until you shall have built up your capacity, let us be of service to you. Let us be of service to you. When you shall have done yours, you can also be of service to me. Let me give you the bigger picture of this.
Yes, and just a second, just before you come there, we want to take a break and we'll kind of hold that thought, okay? We'll come right back. And for you who are watching right now and joining us, this is the Gracious Hope Live podcast. And today we are talking about the truth behind bringing electricity to not just Monrovia residents, but perhaps the whole country. And this company is called Transco. It's an institution-based company. It is called Transco-CLSG. Is a Western, or when I say West African regional energy supplier. And we are talking with our special guest, Mr. Jerry Taylor, who is the country manager of Transco. And we'll be right back. Don't go away. Please stay. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing our program here with your friends. And of course, the Gracious Hope Live podcast brings you today's program because we want to know more about electricity, and the Liberian people have been deprived of electricity, even though the Liberian Electricity Corporation is doing its best, but not almost best. And so many Liberians are frustrated with the infrequent electricity supply. And so Mr. Taylor is giving us both the technical or the technicality involved in the agreement recently signed between the Ivorian Electricity Company and the regional distributor, which is Transco General Manager Mr. Mohammed Sharif. And so that's what we're talking about. So this agreement should bring something very fruitful, that is electricity to perhaps residents, not just of Montserrat County, maybe some other counties as well, but it is a gradual process. Okay, Mr. Taylor, you had your thought about some background you wanted to give, but the Liberian people mostly they want to get into when they would receive actual electricity, whether it is not in Montserrat County, or do you know whether it's going to be in some other counties as well? This project
Uh,
that is being worked on.
this is the modality of the project, right?
Mm,
Uh, Transco-CLSG or the CLSG project is there to augment the capacity or the
hmm
capacities of the national utility companies. There's LEC, there's EDSA of Sierra Leone, and EDG of Guinea. All right. Of course, NCI Energy of Cote d'Ivoire. So we don't distribute. We bring and infuse into the national utility company,
hmm hmm
LEC, because we're focusing on LEC. So LEC will negotiate, or the national utility company will negotiate with a power producer, be it anywhere. The reason I wanted to bring the background a little bit, not huge, explanation, just a brief stuff of it, that the whole concept is a regional, at ECOWAS level, regional concept, meaning that in time to come, the first time frame was 2023, which was impacted by COVID. So it has been shifted to 2024, 2025. There are 14 countries of West Africa, besides, you know, uh, Cape Verde is not part of it. Of course, we got 15 countries in West Africa, but 14 countries besides Cape Verde that is offshore will be connected on the same grid, meaning that all of the 14 countries will be connected just how we have the 4 countries connected today: Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. Just a minute. As we are completing this project between the 4 countries, another project is ongoing that is connecting Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Gambia, up all the way to Mauritania. Another one is ongoing right now. We call it North Core. Is that's Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Benin. Now you know that Cote d'Ivoire is already connected to Ghana. Cote d'Ivoire is already connected to Burkina Faso. Ghana is connected to Togo. So the loops that are left are the one now they are completing. So we can have one web of electric, connection.
hmm
So now if you need power, probably you find, because ECOWAS is not bringing the ECOWAS energy market that we have, the players will be in it. We have this supply and demand, principle, which will be competition in the market. And of course, when there's competition, obviously, people, the final consumer benefit from it. So now, if I find a producer all the way in Niger, probably they are doing solar power in the desert, and I can get it cheaper from there for my consumption in Liberia, I can buy it from there. That's the rationale.
Okay, so now, yes, so we understand the regional face of it, but if I'm a Liberian right now listening, I don't have electricity in Kakata, I don't have electricity in Banga or other villages, surrounding villages, and I'm hearing about this whole new deal that the government signed an agreement with Ivory Coast to supply or to augment the
Right.
current electricity capacity, and then LEC will have to look for another producer to help them as well. Now, Transco CLSG right now, where do you have all of your transmissions right now that will help augment LEC? Where do you have them stationed in the country?
Listen, the line is passing through the country, through the full country, but let's focus on Liberia. It's passing through
Yeah.
7 counties. Nimba,
Seven
Bon,
counties?
seven
Okay.
counties, yes.
Okay.
Nimba, Bon, Magibi, Maserado, all right, Bassa, Bon and Bassa, Magibi, Maserado, Bombi, and Cape Mount. Then it
Mhm.
goes into Sierra Leone. All right.
Mhm.
So you're saying, where do we have all of this? The rationale, I will, term it that way, is there is now power capacity passing through your country. So it is the national systems, national government, or the
Mhm.
national
It's the
utility.
LEC.
Yeah,
The
the
LEC.
LSC is
LEC
now
will have to tap on our
has the
power.
prerogative to transmit to wherever you want the power to go.
Oh, okay.
So in the country, we have five substations,
Okay. Fine.
225 kV substation. In the layman term, 225 kV simply means 225,000 volt capacity substation. We have five of those. One is in Nimba on Yekipa Road. One is in Botota, that's Central Liberia in Bon County. One in Grand Bassa. As you're entering Buchanan is on the left. Everybody who has gone to Buchanan have seen it. One
Mhm.
is at Man Coffee, which is the one that is infusing power into Man Coffee substation
Mhm.
to lift it up to town. Then the last one in Liberia is in Mano, close to our border post. So this is how our substations are. Each substation is on 10 acres of land. It's a
Hmm.
huge facility. 10 acres of land, each substation. So that substation is now the point at which distribution is done. All right.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that's why it is. So wherever you want to carry as a nation, we are only there to bring it in our line. You can take it from there and push it as far as possible.
Okay, so it's
Do you think?
so,
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Alice. Go
No,
ahead.
I was saying. So you think for every substation that you have, LEC will have, or would it be able to supply LEC so that LEC can, to supply the entire Bond County, let's say for a county? You think it's
Exactly.
enough?
That
Oh,
that's why it is. At every
okay.
substation, you cannot push as much as you can. That's why those substations are.
Wonderful. That was my follow up, Alex. So you let me just go to the next one. You already have
Okay.
some follow up, but this is a marvelous undertaking. As we can see, we hope that everything goes well. But somebody sitting in Liberia now, even though LEC has to take power from those lines into the different subsectors or sub-region, somebody sitting in Liberia now asking themselves, how long will it take? How long will it take for our country to be electrified? How long? Because the layman want to see action. The layman wants to see things happening right now. They may not understand all the technicalities. So, what can you tell them about the time frame for the country to be electrified? Because this is a very serious point that Liberians are concerned about.
Okay, brother Deddeh, the answer to your question, as we speak, there are a couple of projects that are ongoing. Uh, LEC just completed the line to Tottenham. Right now, Tottenham has power.
Hmm.
LEC is completing the line between Monrovia and Robertsfield, or that is, to Smith noticed.
Hmm.
All right, LEC has entered Robertsport in Grand Cape Mount County. LEC has extended the line up to Kakata, beyond Kakata, Wheeler, and Moving. The land is also from Ganta all the way into Bon County in Banga.
Hmm.
We are now Liberia is concluding with the EU on running the network of Buchanan and up to the land they call it the southeast up to Grand Crew. There is
Hmm.
another line going there. Now we have for us one of the substation, which is the one that is in Botota, is meant for power to be looked out to the southeast and
Hmm.
power to be out to the northwest. Southeast, of course, that is Maryland, Grand Crew,
And crew.
Riverside, Grand Jide, those counties, River G, those counties. Now they want to the northwest, that's Lofa, that's part of Bon County, and the rest of it. So those are the area. It may be probably far-fetched, but this is where now priority investment will go into these things by the national government. And that's why, the budget is all about. We got budget
Hmm.
to, what the country is interested in or whatever, the people have through the national legislature, doing that. So, but the most important thing is that now there is possibility, right, of even thinking inwardly that we now as a people can now deepen our energy resource by developing the energy, base of Liberia, because we now have a land that can take us even beyond Liberia.
So
Wow.
to be sure, this energy power that's the one that's coming from Ivory Coast, right? Am I right?
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm talking about. Coming
Okay.
from Ivory Coast, pass through Liberia, pass through Sierra Leone up to
Liberia.
Guinea.
Yes, and that's what the signing agreement for. Yeah, I mean, I look at the pictures, the signing ceremony, everything is looking okay, and all of that, and it's good to have that binding agreement between Liberia and Transco CLSG for stable supply of electricity. But it is left with the responsibility of the Liberia Electricity Corporation (LEC), and Bishop Carter Brown said. LEC is like the Zogos, okay? This behavior the same, which means it's abnormal. I mean, it is a shame to see our country being in darkness all along. And I know, they don't get me wrong. We are praying that everything is they will go well. And Transco and is has already planted those substations that will help. We just look forward to seeing everything done because Liberia, the oldest independent country republic in Africa, and I know you're blaming on the war, you're blaming on some of the crazy heads that took out the wire and did everything. Africa's had a war, but it didn't destroy the electricity and cables and everything. But you see, for us, this is what we did, right? We shot ourselves in our own foot or feet,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
what's going on. You
Yes.
know, so to all our brothers, Christian brothers and sisters in working at LEC, the men and women, we're not trying to put you down, but we know this takes a lot of planning, and it got to be done strategically so that the country can be electrified. Because without electricity, it stagnate the business environment, and even foreign investors. Nobody wants to make business in the dark. You know, that's a stark reality. And so, Mr. Taylor is simply saying Transco CLSG has already planted the substations, and hopefully they can work together with LEC to implement ways and means to see how electricity can be rationed in the right way and how people can pay their bills and all of that. But the electricity theft, that's another thing, Reverend Deddeh.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're still stealing electricity, even taking the wires out in the community.
No,
So
let me give you an update on that. Yeah,
okay.
up to what September or something, we had management contractors that were managing LEC. That was an Irish, company that was managing LEC. That was through the donor own, input into LEC and who they wanted to manage the resources to get LEC back on course. But what we have now, the contract, ended, and Liberians have taken over with Money Captain as the new, head of LEC, and we see some progress.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
is he have LEC or the board of LEC?
he is
Chairman of the
the
board.
head of LEC now, as well as chairman of the board.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so he's the head of LEC now, and we've seen some moves. I mean, positive moves. He've established this task force on power theft that is headed by Mary Broad, and she's already started, vigorously. Yesterday, many person. I mean, not day before yesterday, because yesterday was holiday. She was in Pinsville, and you can see the wave is going. Everybody is saying, "Man, I want to get my meter before this lady comes." And the reason I'm saying is that there are steps that have already been taken in this life. So we just have to give them the benefit of the doubt to prove worthy of those steps that are taken. Again, there are a couple of projects. Some they are projects that are financed by donors. Some projects are financed by the government of Liberia for the distribution of the network. Like I was telling you, on some of the areas that are already connected, and let's see how that goes. And but we are quite positive that we are moving in the right trajectory with power. Many persons have complained as a fact, service, power theft, people are not responding. But again, with the new leadership, we have seen some moves that are very, very encouraging.
And I believe, Mr. Taylor, you've been interacting with some of the workers at LEC or even on the management level. From your experience, okay, do you see some inefficiency? There are other people just on the job not doing it well, or they need more training? Or what do you think that the LEC lack? Or what do you think is responsible for this kind of slow pace in supply of electricity as a whole?
Well,
What would you
well,
suggest or recommend?
there are, every institution for that matter has its own challenges. And in this instance, LEC will have their own challenges, and I think they have cataloged those challenges. We got on work with them. I only go there for meetings, so I see professionals there. They got highly qualified professionals, and of course, like I said, just in couple of months, just a couple of months back, the institution was, you know, it was managed by a management contractor, an Irish group, and now it has been passed on to 100% Liberian management, and we have seen a lot of positive changes. So they have their own challenges, and some will be technical. Some normally some will be support, because
Hmm.
once you don't have you may have all of the professional or all of the qualification, but if you don't have enough to support you, because normally in all of the dealings that we have, if you don't have the capital to invest
Yeah.
into what you have as your program, so no matter how much qualification and how much technical experience you have, if you don't have that support base, it's just something that, so probably, like I say, it may have been from that level. A couple of other issues that may be there, but as a responsible institution, I think they've cataloged these things, and they want to move forward and achieve, especially under the new management.
I know,
And
we'll soon be leaving, but I just want to you can answer these questions in the order as you would choose. How many Liberians are on this Transco project, and how were they selected? That's the first question. You can comment on that. Um, will Transco project eliminate or resolve the issue you raised from the onset of this project and this program when it comes to electricity during the dry season? I think you mentioned that there's challenges with electricity during the dry season. How will Transco, with this discussion we have, resolve that issue, if you have any answer to that? And the last question will be, what are the challenges so far that Transco has experienced or are experiencing as the project is ongoing?
Well, let me start from the last question. What have we experienced? One of the major challenges was COVID impact. Uh, we set our timeline for completion of the project because this project started 2015. The proper implementation, documentation, or document was signed. The birth of it was March 5th, 2012.
2012.
Right, where documentation started and the rest of it. But the actual implementation of the project started 2015. With the belief that we would have been finished by 2019. All right. So around in the implementation, we encounter, because major projects like this will come up with its own complexities. So we discovered that certain physical issues were hindrance to the time we set. For instance, the line route came along the train track, but in the survey, the electric line crossed the train track many times. The train track that goes from Buchanan to Nima County to Yekepa.
Mm-hmm.
So the line route crossed the train track many times. So in our study, we thought that for every time we crossing the train track with equipment, we have to inform the owner of the train, which is ArcelorMittal, to give us permission to cross with equipment. And there has to be something specific constructed at that crossing point. All right. And not only be there, but there has to be a gate. So you have to mobilize a lot of resources for just one crossing point. So we noticed that we're in a construction phase. It will be maybe just the period of the construction. But let's say in the maintenance and operations phase, which goes for 99 years. Operations phase is for 99 years. So do you know how many times you're going to cross? So we have to think twice that, hey, we will put this line one side of the train track. If we are to cross, it will be maybe once or twice, not more than that. So that time was a hindrance to the time that was set. Then again, it also added up to the cost of the project.
Okay.
Then again, we noticed that the topography, of where we build the towers, certain area were so wet, some area was so rocky. So we got on the ground before we knew. So that was also some obstacle. Then, of course, when COVID hit, it stopped certain things. It also increased the cost of the project. So these are some of the major obstacles that we had on the project.
Okay. Well, we're out of time here now.
How many Liberians
Yes.
in the project have been selected?
How many Liberians? They were selected on a very, very highly competitive, structure. They had this, term agency, that is human resource agency, that was hired to recruit professionals for this project. So how many Liberians are at a high level? We are about 4 persons, three at the at headquarters. That we have our chief management director. Then we have the communication director. Then we have the general manager, who is the overall boss, is a Liberian. Then on the national level, we are 10 persons, including almost 7, including the drivers. So we don't have too many persons. But what we do, most of the activities are outsourced to contractors. For instance, the building of the line were done by contractors. The building of the substation were done by contractors. So we do the management of the activities around to ensure that the contractors provide what we want.
Okay.
All right. Well, time is up, and we are so glad that you were able to make it as our special guest here today, and we learned a whole lot about the whole project that is going on, the Transco CSLG project, and hopefully all of these substations that are set up in various areas of our country will help LEC, and hopefully LEC, as we now see the whole new management. According to you, they are vigorous in what they are doing right now. They are fired up and they want to do everything possible to see electricity in areas that they deem necessary. And hopefully, they will be able to find the right partner that will enable them also for training on both the low level management as well as middle management and maybe the higher management as a whole, because energy or electricity is it has to do with security issue, and that is why some Liberians are very concerned when an agreement was signed with the Ivorian part of the Transco CLSG. They were worried about, well, are we giving our whole energy sector to another country? That poses a security risk because if someone has your power, they can turn it off anytime and turn it on. Have you thought about responding to those critics who
Oh yes. Oh yes.
criticize that
Oh yes.
agreement
Oh yes. You know,
before we leave?
the network was not built for Liberia to be recipient only. The network is built for Liberia to build also its own capacity to be able to give out power. That's why I said the key word there is exchange. Exchange, not receive. Exchange. You give and you take. And like we're saying right now, let me just address the situation of we giving our energy, sector into somebody's hand. That's not what it's meant. In the first place, regional integration will make us even more united. It will make us even more. For instance, if I know that I am taking power from Cote d'Ivoire, it will be full-headed that I should carry trouble in Cote d'Ivoire. If Cote d'Ivoire know that we are their biggest customer and they're getting from us, it will be full-headed to even bring trouble. Again, if we are giving them, you understand, in the future, because Liberia is also about to build its own capacity. Studies have been done and the rest of it. We got what we call the Via Dam, right? That it will be in motion pretty soon to be able to have another hydro, because in Guinea, I was in Guinea, I saw 2 hydro plants on one river, not far from each other. We can do the same thing with St. Paul. And besides that, we got other hydro points around the country. The study shows that around the country, we should have almost around 113 hydro points that we can develop. That will give us maximum capacity to be able to even affect the regional market or energy market. So those who feel that, or think that we are only receiving and we're giving or selling our birthright, so to speak, no, that's not it. It is the regional integrated arrangement that was thought about by our leaders, which means that at the end of the day, that when West Africa would have put its own energy resources together, that we all will have enormous power that we can share, right? That will give us clean and reliable and affordable power for the sub-region. That is energy sharing. That also happens America and Canada. It happens in Europe. Countries share power. All right? Countries share power. So it's not unique to us. It is something that has been done years and years by other jurisdictions. So we are not, on planet or Jupiter or whatever. So we can we should not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, we're going over time now. Let me just make this comment, and you can comment if you have answer. If not, LEC can think about that. Captain is the chairman of the board. I know Captain. I know him good, and he's an able young man. He was a foreign minister of Liberia. He has all the energy. He's wise and everything. But if he's the chairman of the board, at the same time, he has LEC. People might raise question about accountability and check and balances. So I hope LEC takes this into consideration. You don't work with LEC like you said, but I thought to just throw it out there for LEC to really begin to think about that. That the chairman of the board is also the head of LEC, which might model with check and balance if you're not careful. That's just my thought. You can comment if you want to, Brother Taylor.
Yeah, I could comment. I mean, I'll comment, but I think they have their own structured rules and regulations and the rest of it. So, in our light, if it were not doable, it would not have happened. You understand?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the check and balance.
Yeah. But you're right. If it's not good, it will not happen. But there are qualified people at LEC. I believe that. So, to be chairman of the board, I think that head of LEC. People might begin to question that. I mean, but I'll leave it there for now. Alex, tell me already fast spending.
All right, thank you, Mr.
I will propose that reach out to him and let him get his take on that. That would be very fantastic.
Thank Suah raised the question. He knows me.
And we want to invite him in our program as well. Monique Captain, if you're listening, we'd like to invite you.
That would be quite lovely.
Such a guest. So you can tell the Liberian people what LEC is doing right now, because people need to really get clarity. They want to understand. They don't understand the details, and but they did see you, posting on LinkedIn where you wrote that you were honored to be part of the signing ceremony to bring electricity to Liberia, and you were jubilant in those photos. And so, and I'm your follower too on LinkedIn. So whenever you post anything, I see that. And so, this platform will be open to you if you want to talk more about the LEC and your ability to lead in every capacity, so that LEC and the Liberian people can both mutually benefit from your leadership or management style. Until then, we'd like to say this is how we end our podcast for today, the Gracious Hope live podcast. We are here every Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And in Liberia, it is 9 p.m. GMT, and any other country with that time zone. And today we've been talking about Transco-CLSG and the Liberian government into an agreement to supply electricity with capacity building for the Liberia Electricity Corporation. Until then, my name is Alexander Red and Reverend Suah Deddeh, the co-host. And Mr. Taylor, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.